NBA Draft Lottery is this Tuesday in New York. Jazz fans, anxiety, nerves. Jazz General Manager Dennis Lindsey, what's it like for you as you get ready to sit in that spot, wait for those ping pong balls to drop? Do you have any sleepless nights?
So I'm like everybody else. I'm hoping for good luck. I'm in Houston, the draft that we got Yao Ming, I walked around all day and found a penny. I'll have pictures of my family for me to remember what's important, and they're the ultimate good luck charm. But so we'll have contingencies that if we were to move up and have good fortune, we've worked really hard and we prepared. And the odds say that we'll stay at 12, and frankly, we're very happy with the player that could be taken at 12.
Well, thanks for coming in, because I know you're busy. You just got back from the Chicago Combine to check out some of your prospective draftees. So when you go into Tuesday night, you say you have your family pictures as lucky charm. Yeah. Are you going to take that penny? Do you still have that penny?
I still have the penny. I'm going to look for something new. I may take a walk around Central Park and find something appropriate. I have a lucky watch that my brother-in-law gave me. Again, I'll have some family mementos. And then every so often something will strike me that's appropriate for this year. And maybe it's something with the Beehive State.
Now, do you sit up at night and just imagine, oh, if we get that 0.7% chance, that #1 pick, and who it would be? Do you do that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a fan like everybody else. And look, the #1 pick it's an attractive asset, and you're looking at it just like that. And so when you imagine that you get it, you imagine who that player is, and we've run those iterations. You also imagine making trades where you ask for another organization's firstborn, if you will, and try to maximize the assets. So we'll be anxious the night of the lottery. We'll hope for good luck. But again, we'll prepare for the 12th pick, and we're happy with the 12th pick.
All right, wherever you select in the NBA draft next month, how do you go about it? Are you going for if it's the 12th pick or even the 5th or 6th, are you going for the best player available, best athlete, or are you going to find a specific position player?
Yeah, so I'll be duplicit in my answer here. So typically it is best player, but what we do is we tier players, and we'll have a group of players in our first tier based upon our evaluations, statistical modeling, medical information, the interviews, and then we'll have a tier 2, and then we'll have a tier 3, and so on and so forth, all the way to the end of the draft. And so let's just say we're sitting at the 12th pick, and we have 3 players that are a guard and a wing and a big in tier 2. That's where positional need may swing a decision, but by and large, you want to take the best player available.
Right now, you rub the genie lamp and say, okay, I want this position. Yeah. What position would that be that you need to bolster?
It's very unique. We're in a unique position where we not only have a good young player at each position, but in most positions we have 2. So I think we can go into this draft with the menu and the options fully at our disposal. I know there's quite a bit of opinion relative to our production at the point guard spot, but frankly, it's our youngest spot as well. And if we just get the 3 players that we have under contract better, that will help us a great deal. So again, we'll be looking at the best players. So certainly there's some characteristics that will fit us well within positions. Shooting, intelligence, passing, being able to defend the position are all important characteristics.
First half of the season, everybody's saying, oh, you need a shooter. You know, and I think we've talked about that.
I would agree.
Need a shooter. But when Rodney Hood got healthy, he kind of took that need away a little bit, didn't he not?
So again, it was part of the strategy to manage some of the vets minutes and load towards the end of the year, and in addition to that, take a longer look at some of the younger guys. And unfortunately, Rodney's season was a little interrupted because of his foot and stomach ailments. And so we were finally able to get some consistent action. And frankly, what we saw, we liked. and we're proud to have him, and he's an excellent shooter. I think in time, as he starts to understand the three-point line and where his shots are coming from, he should be a plus shooter.
Talk about the point guard, Dante Exum, 19 years old, first year. Numbers don't jump out and grab you for a starting point guard, but are you satisfied with just some of the baby steps that he took?
I think we achieved a lot, Rod. Look, if you're 18/19 years old and you make it through an NBA season without an injury, played in all 82 games, and you know what that means around here with John and Carl and the legacy they left. And frankly, it was very important for Dante. It was a big goal of his personally to get through all 82 games, even though he was really fatigued at points in the season, and we wanted to sit him. He fought us on that, and we appreciated his mentality towards that. The other thing that's hidden, and we're starting to be able to track it a little more with advanced stats, is Dante's already shown unique defensive abilities. Frankly, he's 2 or 3 levels ahead of where we thought he'd be defensively. I think we were +5 per 100 possessions when he was on the court last year. So for a 19-year-old point guard, and most of those margins, as you would guess, were gained because of his defensive mobility, his size, and his length. And you add that with intelligence and character, we think he's already a good defensive player, and in time he'll be a good offensive player.
How many days of the week is he going to be working on driving to the basket, attacking the rim, which you've talked about, which Coach has talked about? Need more of that.
So there's a couple things to that, and Quinn and I just visited about that yesterday on the plane back from Chicago. There's no question that he'll move forward, and next year it may be incrementally, but when Dante's 22, 23, 24, we're going to be looking at a much different player. We're very confident in his character. We're very confident in his work ethic, and we've already laid some plans about what we wanted to do with him in the offseason. Some will be a little non-traditional, so he can start using his size. As soon as his strength and his physicality match his size, I think that's when magic will happen. And the thing that I would say to everyone relative to Dante and the offensive part, he really deferred to Gordon, to Derrick, some of our more mature players. He didn't try to force himself on the game, and I think that's why, even though his per-game stats were humble, the team functioned very well when he was in the game.
Yeah. You have a few guys with contracts that are not guaranteed. Trevor Booker, one of those, but you have a team option for Trevor. So what's that situation? Because, man, he was just the energizer.
Yeah, his level of competitiveness, his character, his care factor, his toughness, his energy, his ability to run the floor and get on top of the rim, really, those meant a lot to our club and to our fans. And so we structured his contract in a unique way, and Trevor agreed to that. So we'll take some time to make the decision, but it's safe to say we're very pleased with Trevor Booker.
And you have to make that decision by the middle of July.
Correct.
Okay. Gordon Hayward, after a lot of players sign the big deal, they fall off the following year. Not so with Gordon. Man, you have to be not pleasantly surprised, but happy that he just moved forward and upward.
There's a lot of things with Gordon. I think he's one of 3 players. I think the other 2 are Kobe Bryant and Gary Payton. Those 2 players, along with Gordon, are the only 3 players in NBA history that improved their per-game points average 5 straight seasons. Not that points are the end-all, be-all, Rod, but the thing that we were very confident, and Gordon said this in exit interviews, and he sat across from me, and he was resolute. We believed him. He said, look, I can handle the primary player role. I can do this. He said, and he owned the year before last, his efficiency and his effectiveness wasn't as high as what we wanted, but we knew that he'd go back to Indianapolis and work. We knew he'd get into Salt Lake early. We knew he's of the highest character. His parents are great people. Really, the type of person now married, his wife, his new wife is with baby. It just fits. And there's certain fits, right, with Salt Lake and Utah, and especially the Jazz. And Gordon is one that we'd like to see be like John and Carl, where when they retire, and I know Carl didn't, but it feels like he did, right? Yeah. When they retire, it's going to be a career Jazz man. That's our hope. So again, when we sat across the table 2 years ago, in exit interview. We really believe that he could move forward.
Rudy Gobert, of course, just changed this dynamics defensively for the Jazz second half of the season. So now, how does Rudy improve so he just doesn't be stagnant and improve next year, both defensively and even offensively?
Yeah, how about his growth is amazing, even to us on the inside that we're watching the progression day to day. Sometimes progression with a player is a little bit like your child. You know they're growing, but it's hard to see it on a day-to-day basis. You have to go away for a couple months and come back and say, oh, they've grown 2 inches. And so it was a little bit like Rudy, the day-to-day obscured how rapidly he was improving. So I think there's some fundamental things. He needs to continue to be stronger. We saw teams become more physical with Rudy the last third of the season and push and shove. And so for him to handle the physicality, to remain effective, he's going to have to get stronger. For him to be a safer athlete, frankly, he needs to get stronger. But Rudy's committed to that. We changed, he and Alex Jensen changed the slot on his free throw. So we now that he's able to feel comfortable around the free throw line, when the game stopped, hopefully when play is going on, he's going to be comfortable with that 15-footer. Rudy quickly needs to move to spots so our offense can function. We want to still be able to capitalize on those improvements. Improvement in his jump hook, his duck in to get deeper position. All those things are attainable goals.
He'd probably be the #1 pick this year if he was in his draft.
Well, I'll let you say that, but it goes without saying we're very proud of him and his improvement, and we look forward to him being a foundational piece for a long time.
And the improvement that Derrick Favors made from last year to this past season in his offensive game and his moves and what he tried to do, we can only look forward to him doing that a step further for this next season.
Yeah, so Quinn and the coaches get a lot of credit. They were able to put guys in the right positions, and a lot of Gordon and Derrick's improvement, frankly, was obscured, Rod, because of Rudy's rapid improvement, and it just there were a lot of things going on with our team that got swept under the Rudy current, and certainly Derrick's improvement was really significant, and in many ways he was our most effective player in a lot of positions. So his ability to make that 17-footer, we still need to improve his free throw shooting. I still want him to be a defensive anchor. He's going to have to do it out of the power forward spot instead of the center spot now that Rudy's in the fold and established. But we have high hopes, and we're really proud of Derrick and his improvement.
Jazz fans have asked me, Dennis Lindsey always talks about assets and garnering and gathering assets and money. So they asked me, so if he gets a 12th pick, is he going to take one of those assets and the pick and try to move up into the top 5? So I'm going to ask you that.
So there's always, I've never been part of a draft, Rod, where you haven't looked and had conversations about trying to move up in the draft, except for the year that we got #1 and Yao Ming. There was nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And even then you listened to people that wanted to move to the first slot. So by definition, if we're doing our job, we're having those conversations. It's very difficult. Kevin O'Connor's been really good historically, and as you know, Kevin's still in the fold, and I lean on him a great deal, but he's been very good in some subtle ways and able to move up in the draft. So I've actually learned a lot from Kevin and his experience and expertise.
All right, well, good luck with the family pictures, and hopefully in Central Park you find something shiny and bright that you can put in your pocket and maybe shock the basketball world with the ping pong balls.
Say a couple prayers for us.
Dennis Lindsey, have a safe trip to New York, and I'm sure we'll be talking afterwards.
My pleasure.